So, two quick news reports today. Prosecutors are seeking a 17-year prison term for Pentagon secrets leaker Jack Teixeira. So, I want to highlight like the headline grabbing news. Like, this is pretty crazy. 17-year prison term. That's a lot. Prosecutors plan to argue that in Massachusetts and nationals. Remember this guy who was leaking secrets on Discord. So, he was on Discord leaking secrets, and he got found out by like a few people on Discord were like, yo, this is actually real stuff. And they started making copies of it, and they started telling people, and those people were telling people, and then it became super public, and then it all came back to him. And he was holding Discord spaces, like he was having like conversations about the stuff that he was leaking. For what reason, I am not sure, but he single handedly ruined his own life. He hurt his own feelings. In a sentencing memorandum filed Tuesday, prosecutors said Jack Teixeira perpetrated one of the most significant and consequential violations of the Espionage Act in American history. As both a member of the United States Armed Forces and a clearance holder, the defendant took an oath to defend the United States and to protect its secrets, secrets that are vital to U.S. national security and the physical safety of Americans serving overseas. Teixeira violated his oath almost every day for over a year, prosecutors wrote. Teixeira's attorneys will argue that U.S. District Judge Indira Tawani should sentence him to 11 years. He is scheduled to be sentenced November 12th. So his defense attorneys are saying, hey, don't give him 17, just give him 11. That's still more than 10. Wow. In their sentencing memorandum, they acknowledged that their client made a terrible decision which he repeated over 14 months. So he did this for 14 months straight. Oh my goodness. It's a crime that deserves serious consequences, their attorney was. So he's basically paying the attorneys to say, yeah, give him the hammer. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But he really did mess up, though. This is crazy. It's a crime that deserves serious consequences. Jack has thoroughly accepted the responsibility for the wrongfulness of his actions and stands ready to accept whatever punishment must now be imposed. So he's 22 now, 10 years, 32. They asked him for 17, 39, and he's going to serve every bit of that. So, and I bet you the federal prosecutors are going to get what they want. Teixeira of North Yankton, Massachusetts, pleaded guilty in March to 6 counts of the willful retention and transmission of national defense information under the Espionage Act nearly a year after he was arrested in the most consequential national security leak in years. The 22-year-old admitted that he illegally collected some of the nation's most censored secrets and shared them with other users on the social media platform Discord. When Teixeira pleaded guilty, prosecutors said they would seek a prison term at the high end of the sentencing range. But the defense wrote Tuesday that the 11 years was serious and adequate to account for deterrence considerations and would be essentially equal to half the life that Jack has lived thus far. Oh, wow. Describing Teixeira as autistic, isolated, and spending most of his time online, especially with his Discord community. His attorney said that Teixeira's actions, though criminal, were never meant to harm the United States. He also had no prior criminal record. Instead, his intent was to educate his friends about world events to make certain they were not misled by misinformation. To Jack, the Ukraine War was his generation's World War II in Iraq, and he needed someone to share the experience with, his attorneys wrote. Prosecutors, though, countered that Teixeira does not suffer from an intellectual disability that prevents him from knowing right from wrong. They argue that Teixeira's post-arrest diagnosis as having mild, high-functional autism is of questionable relevance in these proceedings. Whatever development or social difficulties Teixeira may have experienced, his decision to illegally disclose national defense information and put the lives of other people at risk was a volitional choice that he made knowingly, willfully, and with full awareness of the consequences time and time again. Prosecutors wrote because he did it over 14 months, right? Yeah. The security breach raised alarm over America's ability to protect its most closely guarded secrets and forced the Biden administration to scramble to try to contain the diplomatic and military fallout. The leaks embarrassed the Pentagon, which tightened controls to safeguard classified information, and disciplined members found to have intentionally failed to take required action about Teixeira's suspicious behavior. Teixeira, who is part of the 102nd Intelligence Wing at Otis Air National Guard Base in Massachusetts, worked as a cyber transport system specialist, which is essentially an information technology specialist responsible for military communications networks. He remains in the Air National Guard in an unpaid status, an Air Force official said. Authorities said he first typed out classified documents he accessed and then began sharing photographs of files that bore secret and top secret markings. Oh, he should have never done that. That's the point of having a clearance. He should have never done that. Prosecutors also said he tried to cover his tracks before his arrest, and authorities found a smashed tablet, laptop, and ex-gaming console in a dumpster at his house. So he smashed it. Why didn't he just burn it? This guy is really. The point is, like, he tried to do that after the fact, but he already put his face on everything. The leak exposed to the world unvarnished secret assessments of Russia's war in Ukraine, including information about troop movements in Ukraine and the provision of supplies and equipment to Ukrainian troops. Teixeira also admitted posting information about a U.S. adversary's plans to harm U.S. forces overseas. Wow. So that's this guy is gonna go to prison for more than 10 years, probably 17. News. Yeah, he shouldn't have done that. Okay, so next is WhiteRabbitNeo, high powered potential of uncensored AI pen testing for attackers and defenders. I chose this news because I wanted to learn more about how AI is going to be used by attackers and defenders. So version 2.5 of WhiteRabbitNeo is designed to think like a seasoned red team expert, capable of identifying and exploiting vulnerabilities with remarkable speed and precision. Okay. The latest release of WhiteRabbitNeo version 2.5 represents a leap forward in cybersecurity and DevSecOps. This generative AI tool, now available on Hugging Face, is designed to think like a seasoned red team expert, capable of identifying and exploiting vulnerabilities with remarkable speed and precision. WhiteRabbitNeo has been trained to find vulnerabilities and test their exploitability by writing exploit code. We've known since the availability of ChatGPT in late 2022 that this was coming, but have yet to see much evidence of AI-generated malware in the wild. One of the reasons is the censorship placed around the big LLM models. A paper published by OpenAI in October 2024 discussed how several adversarial groups had attempted to use ChatGPT to assist their operations. OpenAI noted, however, these interactions did not provide cyber avengers with any novel capability, resource, or information, and only offered limited incremental capabilities that are already achievable with publicly available non-AI powered tools. So don't be direct. Be like Chinese, don't be direct. Oh, this is a thought that I was having in my head. So I was thinking like the AI tool should not be direct, because if it's too direct, then it's just like it's obvious where it's coming from. But it should be indirect. Like a lot of things that I've seen with like these Chinese hackers, like they're super indirect about it. I think that same thing with North Korean hackers as well. I'm just like, but anyways, most people applaud the censorship of the very large general purpose LLMs, but not everyone always. It also means you can't ask security questions about your own infrastructure. LLMs have the capability to assist your own pen testing, but the major LLMs are not allowed to do so. Kendo is a firm focused on the orchestration of Gen AI solutions. It is also the primary sponsor of WhiteRabbitNeo. We talked to Manoscape for a better understanding of WhiteRabbitNeo, its purposes, and its capabilities. So I'm just reading this to figure out like what this actually is. This is the first time I've heard about WhiteRabbitNeo, but it seems that this is obviously a pen test tool. And this is a picture of it, so it's creating exploit code, and then it's showing, it seems, how that code works.
This video is a demonstration.
Okay, so it's a video that I clicked into. Okay, so WhiteRabbitNeo is an offensive security Gen AI video model. He told Security Week his purpose is to allow security teams to examine their infrastructure, detect vulnerabilities that can be exploited by developing exploits for the vulnerabilities, and provide remediations for those vulnerabilities, explains Manoske. To achieve this, it must be uncensored, and that makes it a dual-use tool. It can equally be used by adversaries to detect vulnerabilities and automatically develop exploits. Okay, let's watch a quick video about it.
How an advanced user can leverage the tools provided by WhiteRabbitNeo to create POC code for.
Alright, why is this thing not letting me click the settings?
Vulnerability. This demonstration begins by navigating to the vuln database. This is the location that all new vulnerabilities are posted. What's shown here is the recent October 2024 vulnerabilities. Any one of these vulnerabilities could be used for this example. What's seen on the screen is only current to the date of the recording. From the list, we selected the HashiCorp Vault Enterprise. This exploit would allow a privileged vault operator with right permissions to the root namespace to escalate their privileges to root. Next, we will search ChatGPT, looking for any existing code that could be used to exploit this specific vulnerability. ChatGPT will search not only its internal data store, but as well as online, and will return the information that there is no existing code for this particular exploit. Once authenticated to WhiteRabbitNeo, we can ask the LLM to just provide POC code for the exploit in question. WhiteRabbitNeo will now start producing code, in this case Python, that can be used to exploit the vulnerability stated in the CVE. Additionally, once completed, additional information and configuration steps will be provided below the code box. Whether this works directly out of the box or not is irrelevant to the fact that there is now a starting point for the CVE. This type of capability would have taken weeks or months to produce it manually.
That's actually pretty cool. So from what we just saw, it seems that this WhiteRabbitNeo, it finds a vulnerability and then it produces code to exploit that vulnerability right away. Whereas if you're a human trying to figure out how to exploit the vulnerability, it'll take you like months. So that actually is a significant leap forward. But for such capabilities to be useful, the Gen AI output must be accurate, that is free from bias and hallucinations. The first is down to the developers and requires for most models available for Hugging Face a leap of faith, but augmented by their open source nature. The second is down to the model's training data, which must be accurate, completely, and timely. Okay, so there's a lot of news right here. And In short, WhiteRabbitNeo is a find and fix vulnerability tool that operates at AI speed, but it remains a double-edged tool. Momonosuke comments, WhiteRabbitNeo attempts to make its exploit code easily recognizable by security controls by being difficult to obfuscate. Genuine pentesters don't need obfuscation. Here is the deciding factor for developing WhiteRabbitNeo. The idea that our adversaries are not already developing or have already developed a purely offensive malware generating AI is a fool's paradise. WhiteRabbitNeo also adds the remediation. It's likely then that after raising a few eyebrows, WhiteRabbitNeo will gain rapid acceptance by existing security leaders. We asked a few. All right, cool. So that's the news for today. I have to get ready to go, so I have to stop it here. But thanks for tuning in.